Hey, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to April's edition of our sustainability chat. This is brought to you by the Sustainability Institute in La Crosse, Wisconsin. My name is Casey Meehan, and I help serve in programming at the Sustainability Institute, along with working as the Director of Sustainability and Resilience at Western Technical College. So Sustainability Institute, if you don't know much about it, we are all about catalyzing sustainable actions in the Seven Rivers region. And we do this by educating about sustainability issues and local solutions, by advocating for climate and sustainability action, by connecting like-minded organizations and people to each other, and by inspiring a positive vision for a sustainable future for our area. And today, we're going to be highlighting and learning from our neighbor across the river, La Crescent, Minnesota. We will be, if you've never been in a sustainability chat session, we're monitoring the chat box. So we ask you to keep your video and your microphone off just to preserve our stream. But we are monitoring the chat box. So if you've got questions that pop up or concerns, just type them there and we will get to them. And then we should have some time at the end of the presentations for our guests to answer any of your questions that you have. So most of Sustainability Institute's work, we frame using the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. And there's also, sorry, there is a poll question that comes up. We're just curious who in the audience lives in the Crescent. So we'll give you just a few seconds to answer that. All right, looks like most people are not living in La Crescent. All right, so as I was saying, we frame most of our work in what's called the UN Global Goals, or the Global Goals for Sustainable Development. And we also refer to these sometimes as the Good Life Goals. And what the Good Life Goals are a series of interconnected goals that lead us to living, lead our area to lead a thriving life, right? For everybody, for all life. And you can see that it's not just about a clean environment. It's about lots of other things as well. Making smart choices. It's about using clean energy. It's about ending poverty, things like that. Well, today, our focus is on Good Life Goal number 11, which is all about helping to make our communities sustainable and resilient for all of us. And, they're just on your screen, you'll see a few things that just individuals can do to help make the communities we love become even better places. The city of La Crescent has actually really been engaged with this idea of goal number 11, loving where we live, and really making it a community that helps everybody thrive. So La Crescent has been part of the Minnesota Green Step Cities program since 2015. If you're not familiar with the Minnesota Green Step program, it's a voluntary challenge for cities to participate in, where there's assistance and recognition to help cities achieve their sustainability and quality of life goals. So with us today is Jason Ludwigson. He is the sustainability coordinator for the city of La Crescent. And he's here just to help us understand and learn a little bit more about what La Crescent is doing to make their city and our region just a better place. So Jason, why don't you come on in? And I'll stop my share. And you can go ahead and share your screen. All right, you good, Jason?
Just a second.
Yeah, no problem.
I'll get there. Sure, I'm sharing the right thing here. Not showing up. Not exactly what I wanted. All right. There we go.
You got it. There you go. You're up and running.
There you go. All right.
All
Thank you. Thanks for your patience. Thanks everyone for joining today. Thanks to Casey for the introduction. As Casey mentioned, my name is Jason Ludwigson. I am the sustainability coordinator for the city of La Crescent. What I did today in terms of the slides, putting together just some pictures to kind of highlight some of the projects that we've been working on, efforts we've been making around sustainability in the city. Casey mentioned in his introduction the Minnesota Green Step Cities program, which the city entered into in 2015. That was kind of the catalyst, I would say, for kicking off the city's sustainability efforts. That started with the city starting at the level 1 level in the Minnesota Green Step Cities program. We've been fortunate through efforts we've made, projects we've accomplished, changes we've implemented to achieve level 5 designation with the Minnesota Green Step Cities program. The Minnesota Green Step Cities program has also launched, and I didn't put into the slides this year, but there was a pilot program last year called the Gold Leaf Challenge program, and the Minnesota Pollution Control Agency has developed that program particularly targeted towards level 5 Minnesota Green Step cities who've reached that designation as a kind of next stepping stone. Once you achieve level 5, some of the cities, wanted something they could, work towards above and beyond level 5. So fortunate enough to have kind of some input and be on the planning group that developed those Gold Leaf Challenge actions last year. So that's something that the city of La Crescent is also participating in since we've reached the level 5 Minnesota Green Step Cities designation. It's been a really great program for the city. There's really great support from the state in terms of trying to leverage resources and connect us with opportunities, whether that's for technical assistance or for grants or for other opportunities. It's been a really wonderful program for the city. Just going to highlight here in the first couple slides some of the accomplishments, I think, the city achievements in terms of recognition and designations. We were fortunate to achieve Soul Smart Gold designation program with the United States Department of Energy that highlights cities' efforts to make it easier, faster, less expensive for residents in the city, commercial, residential, industrial, to install solar PV systems. We're also, with that Soul Smart Gold, we're working towards the next designation level, which Soul Smart has come out with, which is the platinum level. We're pretty close to getting there, not all the way yet, but I think that's something that we'll probably get to or achieve in 2024. We've also been a Tree City USA city for a couple of years. I know that some communities surrounding La Crescent have been Tree City USA cities for quite a bit longer than the city of La Crescent has. But that's a nice accomplishment when you think of the benefits that trees bring from a sustainability perspective. Probably one of the best investments a city can make in sustainability is planting and maintaining a healthy urban tree forest. We're also a designated bird city by the Audubon Society. That was a couple of years ago we achieved that designation as well. Last year, after trying in 2017, I believe, the city put in another application to the League of American Bicyclists to be designated a bike-friendly community, and we achieved the bronze designation in 2023, and we kind of highlighted that at the Apple Blossom Bike Tour this year where we kicked off and kind of showcased the award and what it meant to the city. So that's a nice accomplishment that we're pretty proud of here in the Crescent, achieving that in 2023. So I'm gonna the next part, I'm gonna kind of highlight some of our areas of focus and break these down into kind of subcategories. The first of which I'm gonna highlight talking about energy. As you'll see here in the picture, illustration of some solar panels in the city. These are actually not on a city property, but it's, I think, important as part of the sustainability piece that, you know, cities have a lot of opportunity to work with community partners. In this case, this is a school and their solar PV system on the middle school, the public La Crescent Hoka Middle School, solar PV system that they installed. We've had pretty good success with schools in the community installing solar PV systems. Crucifixion School has one, the middle school has one, the public elementary school has a solar PV system, and the city's also made efforts with solar PV systems as well, with installations on the community building slash fire station, the building that serves both purposes. That was the first PV system that the city installed as a roof mounted system. And then we have 3 additional PV systems with the radium plant, the public works building, and the Crescent area animal shelter. And we're actively looking at projects to install additional solar capacity with 2 specific projects, one being the community ice arena and the other being the La Crescent Aquatic Center pool building. So those are hopeful projects for 2024. So the picture here is highlight the Weiser Park Pavilion building that the city worked in partnership with, particularly the Weiser family and the Weiser construction to install in Weiser Park in 2023. The park was donated to the city from the township because the township wasn't really able to maintain the park to the level that kind of for the public level. And the reason I highlight this or included this slide is the city is, or this building, excuse me, is an all electric building. So there is no gas line to this building. During the construction process, the city pushed to install cold climate heat pumps with the building. And you can see in the picture here, those 2 units on the south side of the building. Those have performed really well this winter. Kind of a good case study for us to showcase that, you know, all electric heating of buildings is a very doable thing in this climate. This picture, I just wanted to highlight efforts the city's made, particularly with outdoor lighting, like street lighting, to replace all that lighting to dark sky compliant LED lighting. The city's done a lot of that work on city-owned streetlights, and then we've had a good partnership with both XL Energy and My Energy Cooperative, both of the electric utilities that serve the city, to update their lighting. They've been a good partner on that, and they've probably 60-70% of the lighting upgrades have come from XL and My Energy, and the remainder on city-owned streetlights. I'd say we're probably, I don't know the exact number, but 98% of the way there to all outdoor lighting and public spaces within the city being LED. So in terms of reducing energy use, that's a nice piece to that. Highlight a picture here, Crescent was the first city in southeastern Minnesota to install public level 2 EV charger. That was done in the Veterans Park parking lot area in coordination with the city's efforts to improve that property with the new hotel and event center. We were fortunate that the Clean Energy Resource Teams of Minnesota CERTS provided a grant to offset part of the cost of installing this EV charger. This isn't the actual police EV bike, electric bike, but the police department in 2022, I believe it was, used funds that were donated from a community member to purchase electric police bike, which has been used quite a bit, both in city events like parades and just for patrol. See it oftentimes on the wagon wheel bike trail with officers using that bike. We're also fortunate in 2023 to use funds from the infrastructure law passed in 2021 that flowed through the Minnesota Department of Transportation and with the carbon reduction program. And we use those funds to lease an electric police cruiser. The city did a study in 2021 with Sawatch Labs where they installed devices on each of the vehicles in the city to track the mileage, where they were parked, other data to give us an idea of what would be really the best target vehicles to replace with from an internal combustion engine vehicle to electric vehicle. And the police department having the vehicles that drive the most, highest mileage typically in the city, was the best candidate for this. So ours is a black vehicle like this one here. It's currently in Oakdale, Minnesota, being outfitted for police work. And then it'll have all the computer pieces inside of it, all the necessary radios and equipment for police work. And then it will get badging on the exterior of the vehicle. And we're hopefully going to kind of do a little bit of a public kickoff when that comes back and it's all outfitted. A number of folks have asked to kind of get a ride in that vehicle. So it's been well received by the police department. They're excited to use it. We're hoping that it can kind of be a start and expand electric vehicles for the police department in the future. So that was kind of section on the energy, I'd say, efforts the city has made, both to source renewable energy, reduce energy use, reduce emissions. The second section I'm going to highlight is kind of around stormwater, protecting water quality. The picture here is a rain garden the city installed last year with funds from the Winona One Watershed One plan, the state of Minnesota, and the Board of Water and Soil Resources at the intersections of Eagles Bluff and McIntosh Road. There'll be a planting done here probably in May of this year, native plants and grasses in the area that you see that's highlighted, that's mulched here. And the city will also be doing a curb cut on the left side of the rain garden here with the cobbles to direct more of the stormwater from the streets into this rain garden to filter that. This picture is a illustration of a project the city did in John S. Harris Park to install another rain garden on that property. There's a picture of that same rain garden looking the other direction with the native plants and grasses that the city planted in that rain garden. And that was finished in June of 2023, so last year. Another picture to highlight some native plantings the city's done in the upper parking lot of Veterans Park when this was constructed in 2019, 2020. The area you see in the picture there was primarily turf grass. So the city took the turf grass out and installed native plant species and mulch in there. So reducing mowing time, emissions from mowing, time to mow that, beneficial pollinator habitat, increasing stormwater retention, absorption, benefits from a project like that. I highlighted a little bit or talked a little bit earlier about project partners. We've worked with the school district. They had a rain garden on their property. They did some construction, a new school building at the elementary school, mostly new anyway. A little bit of it was remodeled and retained. And that rain garden during the construction was kind of removed. Part of it remained, part of it did not. Worked with the school district to help them restore that rain garden. And they were fortunate to, with the La Crosse area stormwater group, to get a soak it up sign at that property, which is a nice educational point to highlight to the community. There's a lot of people that walk by this location. Picture I included here is an event from last spring that the city led, the first annual water festival event held with at the public elementary school. All of the fourth graders from the community attended this event. We had about 12, 11 different presenters come and present different stations on water quality, such as aquatic invasive species, fish habitat, stormwater runoff. And we're planning the second annual Water Festivals event to be held April 26th of this year. So hoping for good weather for that day. Picture included here is some work done in February on one of the city's Bluffland Park properties. This is Eagles Bluff Park. And the volunteers here worked for morning and part of an afternoon to do bluff prairie restoration. There are two bluff prairies in the city of La Crescent in Eagles Bluff Park. This is the larger of the two. There's a one property to the east of this, about a quarter mile, that had even more intensive restoration done this year. Here's the picture of that, sorry. So this is a picture of those efforts. Volunteers worked that day to do that. We've highlighted with signage some of the work that's been done and what that is to the public to try and help educate folks on what a bluff prairie is, what some of these elements are in the natural spaces within the city. There's a picture of some of our tree steward volunteers. The University of Minnesota has a tree steward program where they train volunteers within a community to do tree work. That involves tree pruning, tree planting, tree health diagnosis, mulching of trees. These two volunteers are working in Veterans Park. We're fortunate that we have 4 trained volunteers within the community. We'd certainly like to expand that and grow that volunteer base. But these folks are very dedicated. They have to go through a full training and pass a certification course to be certified to do that work within the community. Picture I've included here is our efforts with native prairie plantings within the city. We're fortunate over the years that MnDOT, or the Minnesota Department of Transportation, has done a landscape partnership program with us where they do some cost sharing with the city to make landscape improvements in the MnDOT right-of-way that runs through the city. In this case, this is the median between north and southbound Highway 16 running south towards Hoka and Brownsville. The picture here is of a native seed drill, and that was seeded in 2022. And we've got a lot of positive comments, both from people in the community, outside the community, about that restoration project. Leave the next picture, just a picture of highlighting the efforts by the DOT to do a controlled burn of that prairie in the median. The section I want to cover next kind of talks a little bit about active transportation. We've been fortunate with the city of La Crescent to work with Houston County, their public health educator, which is a part of the statewide health improvement partnership, or SHIP. And we've been fortunate to leverage some of those small or mini grants into bike racks for the community, trail signs. Saw earlier that sign in Eagles Bluff Park, the Bluff Prairie or Goat Prairie neighborhood bikeway signage. We're working to expand the Drift Cycle bike network from La Crosse to La Crescent. SHIP has contributed, agreed to fund part of that program, and then park navigation signs. So that's been a really beneficial partnership for us. Just some pictures of some of those projects that SHIP helped fund. This is in the background, you can see the bike and pedestrian bridge that crosses Highway 1461, bike pump and bike fix-it station with a bench at the trailhead of the bridge. They also help with signage. This is a bike fleet trailer that the city procured with a Safe Routes to School grant from the Minnesota Department of Transportation. And SHIP was the partner that helped us do the lettering on this trailer, which is kind of a really unique and cool lettering on that trailer. Highlight the efforts of the community bike fleet. This is just a picture of that community bike fleet, the bikes that are inside there. We were fortunate with that grant to also get some Strider bikes. The bike shop, the community nonprofit in the community, suggested Strider bikes as an idea to distribute out to the preschools within the community. So those are all out and being used by kids kind of age 5, 6 and under. We've worked hard to promote Walk to School Day, trying to make our community more active, and active transportation as a way to walk to places within the community, both from a health benefit and a pollution reduction benefit. We held a bike rodeo last year in the spring. We did a demonstration project to try and showcase some efforts on bump outs, what that would look like within the community, and try and solicit some input and feedback. Many of you, if you're in the local area, might be familiar with the big project the city completed in 2022 with the completion of the bike and pedestrian bridge that crosses Highway 1461. There's a picture kind of during the construction of that bridge. Senator Tina Smith, Minnesota State Senator, came and toured the construction during the project. So that's kind of all I have to cover. If there's any questions, I included my contact information here in the last slide. Thank
Jason,
you.
yeah, Jason, thank you so much.
Sure.
If you could just leave that side up for a little bit in case people want to grab that info from you. But holy smokes, you're doing a lot of work there. And we do have a couple of questions. I want to start off with one. I know that you are, I believe you're a Department of One. Yeah.
That's correct. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So this is a lot, and I know the type of leadership that it takes to drive a lot of sustainability work in bureaucracies, especially. Um, so I'm curious, where, other than you, where is the push coming from for a lot of this sustainability work? Is this something that you're seeing coming from the residents of La Crescent, or is this coming from, elected officials? Uh,
Yeah.
where's that coming from?
Well, we've been fortunate. The city council has been supportive of um, these projects that we've taken on, the efforts that we've made. We've made we staff in the city, myself, have made a real effort to highlight the cost saving measures that many of these projects have within the community. Um, we've always had a very active and engaged community in terms of biking and walking. Long before I worked for the city. So that predates me, those efforts. Our sidewalk network within the city, the La Crescent Community Bike Shop, has been really active in the community for quite a long time. I'll credit Linda Larson. She's the director of the bike shop. She's been working on those efforts for a long time. So a lot of the things we've been able to do during my time working in this role, the foundation groundwork was laid by folks prior to me, doing a lot of that work. You know, our city administrator has been very supportive of these efforts. So we also have some pretty active committees within the city that support these projects. The Park and Rec Advisory Committee, when we talk like Eagles Bluff Park and some of those things, they play an active role in that. We have a Natural Resources Advisory Group, and then we have a Green Steps Committee. So those committees kind of build support for those projects. To make recommendations to the city council. So that's kind of maybe the best way I can frame it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, so the city of La Crosse, as you know, is we have our first climate action plan
Mhm.
that was approved a year or two ago, and we're really starting to take off and do some work on. But I'm curious, do you have any advice or lessons as to how the city of La Crosse can engage our residents in climate work? And I'm talking, people that aren't maybe that aren't involved in those committees, right? Or don't know much about
Mhm.
climate. What would you say? What's the best way to engage folks?
Yeah, that's a tough one. I mean, we we in the city of La Crosse do not have a climate action plan, so we're lagging La Crosse there a little bit. That's one of the things we're trying to work on doing. I think there's some I don't know, challenge, or with La Crosse being a larger city, La Crescent being smaller, so we have a little bit of maybe an advantage in trying to engage residents of the community. But I think, at least my thought is some of the folks who are really engaged in that, to try and do outreach, people they know. I mentioned all those committees the city has. Most of the members of those committees have joined those committees, signed up for those committees, become active members of those committees with a direct ask from someone else. So that's helped to build the folks that are on those committees. Yeah, I don't know that I have a really great answer that's going to really get you.
Yeah, no, that's
It's
all
a
right. I
tough
mean,
one. No, it's a tough
if
one. I've thought about it a lot too.
yeah, I
How
mean,
to engage folks, how do we get more people involved? The city's often led a lot of the projects we've done, and then others have oftentimes followed, right? Which isn't necessarily a bad thing. But yeah.
sure. A couple of questions here from viewers. One from Genevieve, looking specifically at the turf grass removal.
Mhm.
Do you have any numbers on cost avoidance for removing turf?
I do not have any numbers. So, you know, we haven't really had a push from anyone to get those numbers or ask about those. The council hasn't asked for those. None of the Green Steps committee members have really looked towards getting those numbers. I'm sure we could certainly do that. You know, tracking mowing hours, tracking fuel use. You know, we've been tracking some of those statistics for our fleet of vehicles, automobiles, in terms of cost savings, but we haven't done that with those turf removal projects. No, so
Sure.
but good question. Yeah.
And actually, I'm going to ask you, Jason, if you could just stop sharing your screen.
Sure.
So we can get a better view. Oh yeah, no,
There you go.
no, your camera's fine. I was
No,
saying
I
just
just was
yeah,
moving it.
yeah.
That's all right. We're good.
All right, cool. There we go.
Right.
So another question, this is from Kathy. Is the state or city helping owners do any type of like sealing or insulating their buildings to reduce energy? And then a sort of a second part to that question is, are there high efficiency or similar building codes for rentals or new constructions? What's the landscape over there in Minnesota look like?
Yeah, so that's maybe a better question to answer by our building official, but I'll do my best to kind of talk through that one. The city, and I didn't put this in the slides, but we participated in the Partners in Energy program with XL Energy, where we did free home energy audits for folks. We've done LED light bulb giveaways as a part of that Partners in Energy program. In terms of the state efforts for insulation and rebates, it's much as the same it would be in a lot of other states. Many of those incentives and rebates are federal level from the tax code. The city of La Crescent has adopted the same building codes that the state of Minnesota has. We haven't to date gone above and beyond those building codes. I know there's other municipalities within the state of Minnesota who have adopted a stricter building code, something like the 2030 benchmark standard. We do B3 benchmarking within the city, so we track our energy use. But that really, a lot of that comes through the building and zoning department. You know, trying to get that information and outreach to contractors. You know, that's been one of the bigger challenges, probably maybe the biggest challenge in my role, is trying to, you know, get that information to building contractors, HVAC contractors. In terms of energy use in buildings, they're kind of the ground zero point person, or people that interact with customers. And oftentimes I've found that, you know, they don't often have all the information. They don't often share all the information with a customer, or they'll give them inaccurate information. I've had that experience myself as a customer. So we've been working to try and bring in partners with the Minnesota Air Source Heat Pump Collaborative to do a training for contractors to talk about cold climate air source heat pumps. So we've trying to lead that effort from the city in terms of building construction and efficiency.
Yeah, just for some context for listeners, if you're not aware of it, here in Wisconsin, I know the state right now, we're working off building codes that are, I think it's the 2007 version of building codes. So, you know, we're 15 years behind, more than 15 years behind where maybe we could be with building codes. And as Jason was saying, our buildings are big users of energy, right? So if we have better building codes, that would go a long way in reducing our emissions overall. So if you're looking for something to contact your local representative about here in Wisconsin, that could be a good thing, right? To change building
For
codes. And I know it's not a sexy thing, but
sure.
it makes a big difference. Another specific question about something you'd mentioned, Jason, and that was, you said something like one of the best investments in sustainability that a city can make is planting trees and making sort of a healthy urban forest. Could you
For sure.
explain that, elaborate on that a little bit?
Yeah. If you consider the benefits of trees, and I don't have the full list in front of me, but from a stormwater perspective, trees offer an enormous benefit in terms of absorbing stormwater, reducing stormwater. Shade is a huge benefit from trees. So you think about homes and heating and cooling efficiency in terms of a more robust tree canopy. If you think of wildlife benefits from trees, both birds, pollinators, etc. If you think of a safety perspective of trees, if you look at, there's a lot of studies that will point to this, pretty strong evidence that when you have tree-lined streets, that vehicles drive more slowly, they drive more cautiously, reduces vehicle accidents within a community. And then you think of the carbon dioxide that trees sequester. You can just kind of the list is really long on the benefits of trees, both to the living environment in the city, the people in the city, the animals environment in the city. It's really, that's why I say one of the best investments a city can make in terms of the health of a city, the vibrancy, the safety of a city, is investing in trees, having a better urban tree canopy. So it's really every dollar, there are statistics out there and I don't have them in front of me. Every dollar invested in a tree returns $100 to a city. It's just a crazy amount that's a benefit to cities when they both plant and maintain really strong, healthy urban tree canopies.
Yeah, what strikes me about that is we oftentimes get excited about, all the technological solutions out there to climate and to sustainability. And
Mm-hmm.
really, I mean, what you're saying, if I'm understanding it correctly, is some of the best solutions are actually uh, very low tech, right?
For sure.
And really just sort of learning from nature, right? And mimicking nature a
Yeah,
bit. Yeah.
yeah, absolutely.
This from Tom said, speaking of training for local contractors, would it make sense to coordinate training between the local municipalities to train as many contractors in the region as possible?
Yeah, it would. And when we did that, for example, when we did the cold climate air source heat pump training with the Minnesota air source heat pump collaborative, the city of La Crosse was invited, the city of Winona was invited. We had contractors from both of those communities that attended that event. So we've made an effort when there's opportunities to provide training to contractors to include local communities, and invite the contractors in those communities to attend those events, because they work, many of them work by state. They'll work outside the community in different communities, not just in the community where they're physically located. So we have made an effort to do that, and that's a good one to continue to make an effort to do.
Speaking of that type of collaboration across municipalities, are there other ways that municipalities in our region are collaborating on sustainability work?
Yeah, I think there's a pretty strong network of folks who are working in the government, public sector within local communities to network and share ideas about upcoming events, trainings, funding opportunities. So we're actively working on that and doing that right now.
You talked a little bit about some of your challenges, particularly working with, getting accurate information out to contractors and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
What would you say are some of your biggest successes?
Uh, I think I would say as a city, one of the biggest successes has been our efforts and programs to restore native prairie within the city and urban landscapes, public owned urban landscapes. I haven't seen or been made aware of other cities within the state of Minnesota who have made such an effort and had a level of success that we have had. We've been very fortunate that I feel like we've been very fortunate the community has been very accepting, supportive of those efforts. We've tried really hard to think about place and location where we're doing those, been very deliberate to try and do those restorations in areas that the public is not actively using or doesn't use on a consistent basis, areas that are difficult to maintain for the public works staff. So they've been really bought into it. Oftentimes they come to me with ideas about, hey, it was rained a lot this week and we're mowing this hillside in this location and it's really dangerous for us and we don't want to do that. Is there some other alternative? And it's really kind of snowballed as people have both in the public side from the city and in the community have seen, successful projects and said, they've become this societal acceptance of these that looks pretty nice and we don't have to hear the loud mowers in the back anymore. And so that's been one that I see as a real success for the city. I would love to see other cities replicate that. I think it's a real win-win-win. It comes with a cost to implement it, but it certainly comes with savings and a lot of other benefits, much like a tree planting, maybe not at the same level, but similar benefits that go beyond just the project itself. So that's something I think we really would be a point of success for us, for sure.
Great. And one final question for you, Jason. And that is, what's the future hold for the Crescent? Do you have any upcoming sustainability projects that you're excited to talk about or that you're dreaming of that you can share with us?
Yeah. I don't know, I must have missed it in the slide, but we have a big project coming up this year and next year. We got a grant in the end of 2023 to do a stream restoration on Pine Creek. There was some news about that, both in the paper and on the news stations. So that'll restore about 1,300 linear feet of the stream. And both from a water quality perspective and a fishing habitat perspective, I think those will be really, that'll be a neat project. It'll be very visible to the community, people outside the community, hoping we can showcase and highlight that project the next 2 years.
Fantastic. Thank you. So, it sounds exciting. And it sounds like
Yeah.
there's going to be some good news coming, right? And great demonstration project. Hopefully, fingers crossed.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, Jason, thank you so much for sharing with us and taking the time to do that.
You got it. Thank you.
Yeah. And before everyone takes off, a couple of announcements to make. First of all, want to announce the launch of our 4th annual Green Goose Chase. So this is something that the Sustainability Institute has run now for 4 years. And I'm going to show just a quick promo video on what the Goose Chase is. If you're not familiar with it, this should bring you up to speed.
Get ready for the Sustainability Institute Green Goose Chase, a mission-based scavenger hunt taking flight on April 19th. All game missions relate to a Good Life goal and have teams experiencing sustainability through interactive activities and friendly competition. Teams can join to play for free by downloading the Goose Chase app and searching the game code shown on your screen. Once you have joined the game, create your team. A team can be made up of a group of friends, family members, a gaggle of coworkers, or you can play solo. Once you create your team, invite others to play and be ready for mission launch on April 19th. Teams will be texting in answers, snapping pictures or videos, and submitting GPS location tags to complete missions through the Goose Chase app. Missions might have you finding hidden geese, searching for facts and clues, or taking on a challenge. All submissions populate on the game dashboard, so you can see what other teams are doing and cheer them on. Once you complete a mission, your team accrues points, and you can see where your team lands on the leaderboard. If your team accrues enough points, you'll be entered into prize drawings that take place at our team celebration event. The Green Goose Chase wraps up at the Earth Fair in Myrick Park on April 28th. There will be exclusive mini missions and a team celebration filled with prizes, trophies, and lots of fun. You won't want to miss it. So stretch your wings and gather your goslings. It's time to get your ducks in a row and be ready for the Green Goose Chase.
So it is a great event. Every year we've run it, the Goose Chase. We've had more and more participants. I think last year we had around 80 teams playing with us. So it's a great game. It's fun. It's free, and anyone can play. Coworkers, friends, family, kids. So please do consider joining. And it's just a good way to learn a little bit more about sustainability and have fun while you're doing it as well. And as the video said, that actually the Goose Chase ends up culminates at the Earth Fair. So want to make sure that everyone is aware the La Crosse Earth Fair is happening the last Sunday of this month, April 28th. Really hoping we're getting the snow out of the way today so that it doesn't snow on April 28th. It's 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. at Myrick Park. Again, a great family event if you've never been. It's also free, and there are dozens of vendors and booths to check out and activities. So please come on down to Myrick Park on the 28th of this month and check out Earth Fair. So before you go, there is a post poll that we'd like you to answer. 4 questions here, and this just gives us at the Sustainability Institute a little bit of feedback about how we're doing and as far as programming and maybe what you want to, where we should head next. So if you could take a few minutes to answer that, or a few seconds to answer that. And I also want to let you know that if you want to see this program that we just saw or any of our past sustainability chats, go to sustaininstitute.com/spotlight. And you can find all of our past sustainability chats there. This one should be up in the next probably 2 or 3 days. For any other events, go to sustaininstitute.com/upcoming events. And you can find anything else coming up, including information about the Goose Chase and the Earth Fair. And finally, I want to say thank you. Thank you again to Jason Ludwigson. And if you are at all satisfied with the programming that we're offering, if you like what we're doing, please do consider becoming a member of the Sustainability Institute if you're not already. To do that, you can go to sustaininstitute.com and you'll see a Become a Member green button right in the upper right corner. So click on that and find a level that you're comfortable with, and feel free to become a member. We really can't do this free programming without our membership support and without the support of our local business supporters as well. So want to just give a quick shout out to our committed advocates, Lee Roche and Western Technical College. Our cheering champions, that would be Excel Energy, Olson Solar Energy, Habitat for Humanity La Crosse, Dorothy Leonard, Strive to Thrive, and the Franciscan Sisters of Perpetual Adoration, as well as the People's Food Co-op as well. So again, thank you, everyone. Thank you, Jason, for taking the time out. Thank you to everyone who took the time today to participate. And we will see you, I hope, in the Green Goose Chase. And I hope, if not there, then at the Earth Fair.